Today we're talking about the distributive property. If I go to McDonald's and I buy a combo meal and I get 2 hamburgers, a large fry, an apple pie, and a Diet Coke, that right there is all combined into one combo meal. So if I buy 2 combo meals, every single thing gets doubled. This is similar to the distributive property. So you distribute your 2 to each and every item in this combo meal. So instead of having 2 hamburgers, now I have 4. Instead of 1 fry, I multiply my fry by 2 and I get 2 fries, 2 apple pies, and 2 drinks. Okay, so when you are distributing, you have to distribute the 2 to each and every item shown. What if this were your combo meal? So you have 3 tacos, you get 1 nacho, and a drink. What if I wanted to buy 3 combo meals? Go ahead and see if you can figure out how much of each you would have when you're done. So you need to distribute the 3 to the tacos, you need to distribute the 3 to the nachos, and the 3 to the drink. So we get 9 tacos plus 3 nachos plus 3 drinks. That's what they would put on the tray for you. The distributive property states that to multiply a sum or difference by a number, you multiply each term inside the parentheses by the number outside the parentheses. So take a second, pause the video, and write down both these examples. I'm going to explain them in just a second. Okay, so what we're saying here is that just like in the combo meal, this A must be multiplied with the B and the C. So you get A times B plus A times C. Over here, the C is negative, so the A times the B is still positive, but the A times the C must have that subtraction sign there. If we did this with numbers, it's 4 times 6, and then 4 times 2. So when you take 4 times 6, you get 24, and then 4 times 2, and you get 8. Over here, you take 3 times 7, and you get 21. And you take 3 times 5, but remember, it's got that minus sign, so here it's a negative 15. So what if we wanted to model this? For example, if I have 2 times x plus 2, well, this green chip right here models my unknown, or my x. And each of these yellow tiles represents the ones. So I have 2 ones. If I wanted to multiply it by 2 or distribute a 2 to both, I would have shown 2 separate groups of this. That means I have 2 x's and 4 remaining tiles, or 2x plus 4. So if we think about it, 2 times x plus 2 and 2x plus 4 are equivalent expressions. No matter what x is, these are going to have the same values. Let's look at an example here. They're asking us to use the distributive property. The distributive property, if they ask you to do that, trumps orders of operations. So you have to take 8 times negative 9 and add to that 8 times 4. So let's see what we get when we multiply. I know you know that 8 times 9 is 72. And a positive times a negative is a negative. But if you get concerned, you can put this in your calculator. Okay, press the 8 button, then hit multiply, and then find the negative button. The negative is in parentheses, and it's right next to probably your decimal point or your 0, usually at the bottom of your calculator. And then press in 9 and hit enter, and you should get 72. Okay, so you can always check your work with a calculator in this unit. We don't, calculators are allowed, so you don't have to worry about that. So now we're taking 32, and we are adding that to our negative 72. Same signs or different? They have different signs. Take the sign of the bigger and subtract, and we get negative 40. Okay, so you try these. I'll be back in just a second to show you the answers. Okay. Okay, so the first step in this one is to distribute a 5 to each number. So we know 5 times 9 is 45, but it's a negative, and we're adding to that 5 times 11, or 55. Different signs, so I take the sign of the bigger, and I get -10 as my answer. Over here, I'm distributing a 7, and I get 7 times 10 is 70, minus 7 times 5, which is 35, and I'm subtracting, and I get 35, and it's positive. Over here, I'm distributing the 9 to the 12 and to the 8, even though it's behind it. So 9 times 12 is 108, 9 times 8 is 72, and I'm subtracting the 72 and I get 36. Okay, so here's some more examples. Go ahead and copy these down for me, pause the video, and we're gonna try them together. Okay, so when you distribute the 4 to the x, so 4 times x plus 4 times 7. So I have 4 x's. I don't say x4, I say 4 x's. Okay, just like you wouldn't say I have apple 4s, you say I have 4 apples. Okay, so the number always goes in front of the variable. And then I'm adding 28. Down here, distribute the 6, and you get 6p minus 30. Over here, you're distributing the -2. So you're distributing that to both the x and the 8. And keep your negative sign here. Be really careful. You're going to experience a not in this one. So this is a -2x, and -2 times a -8. You can think of it that way, or as a minus a -2 times 8. So let's just do it like this right now. So this is a -16, but this is a not. So it's -2x plus 16. On this one, we distribute the 5 to the -3x and to the 7y, and we get a -15x plus 35y. Here we distribute the 1/3 to the x and the 1/3 to the 6, but it's a subtraction. So we get 1/3 x minus, okay, now we've got to multiply. So remember fractions and whole numbers, change them to a fraction. Multiply straight across, you get 6 over 3, or you can simplify within the numerator and the denominators, and you know that that would be 2. Okay, go ahead and try these for me, and I'll be back in just a second to show you the answers. Okay, so here is the first step for each problem. So here, when you combine these, you get 6a plus 24. Down here, you get -3y minus -30, and this is a not, so it's -3y plus 30. Over here, you get 8m plus 24n. Down here, you get 1/2 w minus 2, because when you simplify, 2 goes into 4 twice, and it goes into itself once. Okay, what about this one? And this one. There's no number in front of it, so you've got to be a little bit more careful. You are distributing a negative to both the x and to the 4. So this becomes -x minus 4. Down here, you're distributing it to this whole thing. So this is a not, so he becomes a positive 3x, and this 6, it's a negative, so it becomes a positive 6. Let's look at some of these examples. Mr. Ito needs to buy batting helmets for the baseball team. The helmets he plans to buy are $19.95 each. Find the total cost if he wants to buy 9 helmets for the team. So we can write an expression like so, $19.95 times the number of helmets. He's buying 9 helmets, so we plug it in, and when we multiply in our calculator, we get $179.55. Okay, go ahead and try this one, and I'll be back in just a second to show you the answer. Okay, so the first step is to multiply times b, your 3750. Plug in 20 for your bikes, and you get 750. If you don't have this, write it down in red pen. And that's all I've got for you today. See you next time.